Hadith number 9. عن عبد الله بن عمرو رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقال لصاحب القرآن اقرأ وارتق ورتل كما كنت ترتل في الدنيا فإن منزلك عند آخر آية تقرأها. Hazrat Abdullah bin Amr radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, on the day of judgment, it will be said to the man devoted to the Quran, go on reciting the Quran, and continue ascending the stories of Jannah, that is paradise, and recite in the slow manner you had been reading in worldly life. Your final abode will be where you reach at the time of the last ayat of your recitation. The man of the Quran apparently means a Hafiz. Mullah Ali Qari rahimahullah has explained it fully that this honor is reserved for a Hafiz, and that this hadith does not apply to one who reads by looking into the Holy Quran. First, because the words man of Quran point towards a Hafiz, and secondly, there is a tradition in Musnad Ahmad, hatta yaqra'a shay'an ma'ah, till he reads of whatever Quran is with him. This word more clearly refers to a Hafiz, although a reader who remains very often engaged in reciting the Quran may also be implied. It is written in Mirqat that this hadith does not apply to a reader who is accursed by the Quran. This is with reference to the hadith that there are many readers of the Quran who read the Quran, but the Quran invokes curses upon them. Therefore, the reading of the Quran by a person who does not adhere to the correct tenets does not constitute an argument that he is acceptable to Allah. Many ahadith of this type relate to the Khawarij, that is a sect who were opposed to Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. In this commentary, Shah Abdul Aziz rahimahullah has written that tartil literally means reading with good and clear pronunciation, while according to Islamic principles, it means reading in accordance with certain rules as follows. Firstly, the letters of the alphabets should be correctly uttered to ensure that their correct pronunciation, so that ta is not read as ta and dha and so on. Secondly, stopping correctly at the pauses, so that joining or finishing of the verses may not take place at inappropriate places. Thirdly, the correct pronunciation of the vowel sounds. Fourthly, raising the voice slightly so that the words of the Quran uttered by the mouth may reach the ears and thus influence the heart. Fifthly, setting the sound in a way that it may become full of pathos and may affect the heart quickly, because a pathetic voice influences the heart at once, moves and strengthens the soul more effectively. The physicians are of the opinion that if a medicine is required to affect the heart quickly, it should be given a sweet smell by means of a perfume, for the heart is sensitive to sweet smell, and if the medicine is required to affect the liver, it should be sweetened with sugar, because the liver likes sweet things. Therefore, if a perfume is used at the time of recitation, it will have a better influence on the heart. Sixthly, tashdid, that is doubling of letters, and mad, that is prolongation of letters, should be fully pronounced, because this reveals the grandeur of the Quran and adds to its effectiveness. And finally, as stated earlier, the reader's heart should respond to the ayat indicating mercy of Allah or chastisement by Him. The above-mentioned 7 rules constitute the correct way of reciting the Quran, which is called tartil, and the sole object of all this is to reach the correct understanding and grasp of the deeper meaning of the Holy Quran. Hazrat Salama radiallahu anha was once asked by someone as to how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to recite the Quran. She said, in a way that all vowel sounds were clear and the pronunciation of each letter was distinct. It is desirable to recite the Quran with propriety, even if one may not understand the meaning. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said that he preferred to recite with propriety short surahs like Al-Qari'ah or إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضِ rather than to recite otherwise long surahs like Al-Imran without it. The commentators and learned scholars explained the above-mentioned hadith to mean that for each ayat recited, the reciter will be elevated to a higher level in paradise. From other ahadith, it appears that there are as many levels in paradise as the number of ayat in the Holy Quran. Therefore, the status of a person will be raised by as many levels in paradise as the number of ayat in which he is well versed. As such, the one best verse in the whole Quran will reach the highest level in paradise. According to Mullah Ali Qari rahimahullah, it is mentioned in a hadith that there is no level in Jannah higher than that given to the reader of the Quran. So, the readers will ascend in proportion to the number of ayat recited by them in the world. Allama Dani rahimahullah says that authorities agree that there are 6,000 ayat in the Quran. But there is some difference of opinion about the numbers over and above 6,000. These are variously reported to be 204, 14, 19, 25, or 36. It is written in Sharh al-Ihya that each ayat corresponds to a higher level in paradise, so a reader will be asked to ascend according to his recitation. One who reads the whole of the Quran will attain the highest level in paradise, and one who knows only a part of the Quran will rise up to the proportionate level. In brief, the stage or level reached will be fixed by the number of ayat recited. According to my understanding, the above hadith has a different meaning. فَإِنْ كَانَ صَوَابًا فَمِنَ اللَّهِ وَإِنْ كَانَ خَطَأً فَمِنِّي وَمِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ وَاللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ مِنْهُ بَرِيئَانِ. In other words, if my interpretation is correct, it is from Allah, and if it is wrong, it is from me and from Shaitan, and Allah and His Prophet are free from it. I think that the elevation implied in this hadith is not that which can be determined by the number of ayat to be recited. That is, when one ayat be recited, the status will be raised by one step, whether it be read with propriety or without. But this hadith points to another kind of elevation, which is a type of inner experience and is related to the recitation being with propriety or without it. So a person will be able to read in the same way as he reads in this worldly life. Mullah Ali Qari rahimahullah has quoted from one hadith that if a person reads the Quran very often in this life, he will remember it in the life hereafter, otherwise he will forget it. May Allah help us there. There are many among us who memorize the Quran in their childhood through the religious zeal of their parents, but through sheer carelessness and negligence on their own part, have forgotten this capability in the latter part of this very life. It is mentioned in other hadith that one who dies while laboring and working hard to commit the glorious Quran to memory will be reckoned amongst the Huffaz. Allah's bounty has no limits, we should only seek it. As a poet says, O Shaheed, His bounties are common for all. You could not be denied these bounties if you were all worthy.